Hello, everyone. In the previous lecture, we were already talking about the brief history of philosophy. We started talking about the ancient philosophical era. We've talked about Thales, the naturalist, also a part about Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. We shall be talking about them more when we reach the topic about ethics. Also, we have talked about the shift that transpired from the ancient philosophical era to the medieval philosophical era. Now, in this, we're talking about God's existence because the shift that transpired from ancient philosophical era to the medieval philosophical era was because of the fact that man did not seem to get satisfied with the answer that life came from water, air, fire, etc., etc. That the source of all the answers came from cosmos and universe. Hence, the intellectuals notable during the medieval times were the fathers of the church. Um, Famous among these is St. Thomas Aquinas, who provided us with the five arguments in proving the existence of God, and also St. Anselm of Canterbury, who gave the ontological argument about the existence of God. Now, this video is intended to invite everyone to ponder on some of the questions on the existence of God. When I was in my first year in philosophy, my professor asked the entire class whether we believe in God or not. And this is the same question that I'd like you to think about and to ponder on. Does God exist? Is there really a God? During our lecture, we said that in order for a being to exist, we must be able to at least describe its existence. Is this the same in proving God's existence? Can we really describe God? Or can we just attribute or describe or give the nature of God's existence, not necessarily defining him or her? Because, just like we've said, God, for it to be a God, must be genderless. It does not even have a name because when you put a gender or name into this God, then it cannot be God anymore. Okay? Now, if you believe in God, if you believe in existence of God, then how do we prove it? By experience or by reason? Now we have defined philosophy as a discipline wherein we're always after the ultimate reasons and principles of all things with the use of reason alone. In proving the existence of God, can we use reason to prove his existence? Or is it enough for us to prove his existence by way of our experience, by way of our sense perceptions? But a question remains. If it is possible to prove the existence of God by way of our sense perceptions, we only have five senses: sense of sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. Nobody has seen God. We can't smell God. So when somebody claims that he or she feels God's presence, what does he or she really mean? Now, if you want to prove the existence of God by use of reason alone, then you are introduced with the concept of ontological argument. And that is the same argument um, done by Saint Anselm of Canterbury, the ontological argument in proving the existence of God. Now, I also asked you to research on what this ontological argument is. If necessary, I will be creating another short video just to explain that, but I'll not preempt your research. Okay? Now, also, I want you to think of the attributes of God. They say that for God to be a God, This being must be omniscient, omnipresent, everywhere, and omnipotent, all-knowing. But if these are the attributes of God, then we have more questions than answers. If we say that God is omnipotent or almighty or all powerful, how come he was not able to stop typhoons and natural calamities? If God is all knowing, if God knows everything, then are our lives fated? Meron bang tadhana? Nakatadhana ba tayo? Kasi kung all-knowing ang Diyos, hindi pa man natin alam ang kakainin natin bukas, dapat alam na niya. Kung ang pangarap natin ay maging isang inhenyero, dapat alam na ng Diyos yun. Kung alam na ng Diyos ang ating tadhana, kailangan pa ba nating magsipag? Sasabihin natin, nasa Diyos ang awa, nasa tao ang gawa. Now, is it possible then that we can achieve this ambition of ours by ourselves without the existence of God? Because there are people who do not believe in the existence of God but achieve great things. Ma-attribute ba nila ang kanilang achievement sa God na ito? Or the better question is God necessary to achieve things in life? Gusto mong graduate? Is it because God wants it that you graduate? Or is it because you graduate because you studied very well? So, pag-uusapan natin dito ang cause and effect. If God is all merciful, then why did he allow innocent people to die of this pandemic? Children, kind people. If God is all merciful, why is there hell? Kung mahabagin ng Diyos, bakit meron tayong konsepto ng impyerno? Another example, Judas Iscariot. We all know who he is. We describe him as one of the 12 apostles who betrayed Christ. But even before Christ was born, there were already prophecies saying that one close to the Redeemer will betray him. So, was Judas Iscariot destined to betray Christ just to fulfill the prophecy? Or was it Judas's option or choice to betray Christ? If it was Judas's option or choice to betray Christ, and if he chose not to betray him, paano mapufulfill ang prophecy? Pwede bang sabihin, instrumental si Judas sa pagkakaredeem ng buong mundo? Pero pagkasasabihin natin, he was fated, he was destined to betray Christ, then we could regard him as a hero because he was instrumental for our redemption. Now, these are some of the questions raised by many students of philosophy when I was in my first year in college. Now, these are the very same things that I'd like you to think about, and I hope that you'll exert an effort to research on your own. Find out the answers to these questions. All right? So, patalastas lamang ito. I'd like you to think about this. Pag-uusapan natin ito sa susunod nating synchronous class. If you have other questions, don't hesitate to send me a message. That's it for today. Thank you and be safe always.